From the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Now on KPIX 5, Starbucks workers walk off the job at dozens of stores around the country. What they say is motivating the strike and what the company is now saying in response. Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Workers are on a 3-day strike at 100 Starbucks stores all across the country, including right here at a store in San Francisco's Castro district. They accuse the company of engaging in union-busting tactics. They also say Starbucks has not made an effort to negotiate in good faith. The company sent us a statement a short time ago. It says, in part, remain focused on working together and engaging meaningful and directly with the union to make Starbucks a company that works for everyone. It goes on to say, by the end of 2022, we will have appeared in person for more than 75 single-store bargaining sessions, and we continue to engage meaningfully and directly with the union. Well, a man has just been arraigned in the killing of a 1-year-old boy on an Oakland freeway. In November of 2021, the Wu family was driving south on 880 around 2 in the afternoon. CHP investigators say there was a gang-related shooting on the northbound lanes. One of the bullets hit 1-year-old Jasper Wu, and while suspects did emerge early on in the investigation, the CHP says it was critical to take the time to gather enough evidence to get a conviction.
It's a testament to the hard work that our detectives did, that it didn't matter if it was 13 months or 13 years. We were going to find justice for this family.
3 alleged gang members now facing murder charges. One suspect, 34-year-old Johnny Jackson, was arraigned this morning. A spokesperson for the Wu family says those arrests do bring some sense of closure, but he also says it brings back some painful memories from the day of that shooting. Environmental regulators in California voted unanimously to become carbon neutral by 2045. For now, the plan is a roadmap, does not commit the state to any specific actions. A controversial overhaul in the meantime of rooftop solar incentives now moving forward. It would cut the payments that solar customers get for giving excess power back to the grid. The CPUC unanimously approved that change, saying it will be fairer to low-income ratepayers. The solar industry argues it will cut down on installations and delay the state's clean energy goals. Okay, let's get a check with the First Alert meteorologist Jessica Birch as we head into our weekend.
You know, things are starting to warm up a little bit as we head into this afternoon. We dealt with a frost advisory this morning throughout our coastal areas and even a freeze warning all throughout the East Bay, the North Bay, and into the Santa Clara Valley. I will say this, though, as we take a quick look at temperatures heading into this afternoon, things are going to change. If we could put graphics up behind me, you'll get a good look at that. Current temperatures right now just near Concord at 51 degrees. For our friends over in Livermore, it's 52. So we're going to warm up into the upper 50s and lower 60s this afternoon. A live look behind me right now showing mostly clear conditions. That's just a live look from the Salesforce Tower cam. If we could pull up graphics, you'll see warmer temperatures into the afternoon. But for now, I'm going to send it back over to you while we figure that out.
All right, thanks, Jess. In developing news, a humanitarian crisis is unfolding on the U.S. southern border. Each day for the past week, about 2,500 migrants have crossed the Rio Grande near El Paso, Texas, seeking asylum. And as CBS reporter Nicole D'Antonio explains, it comes as the U.S. policy to expel and deport immigrants is about to expire.
The long line at this border crossing outside El Paso, Texas, gets longer every day, with people from Ecuador, Colombia, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Many say they're fleeing persecution and poverty. This family traveled 20 days from Ecuador, where they say a criminal gang extorted them and threatened to harm their young daughter. She says she's looking forward to a future of study and work. Several times a day, Border Patrol opens up the gates to let dozens of migrants in to be processed. Each day, about 1,600 are released into El Paso, where shelters and hotels are full. Many are sleeping on the streets in freezing temperatures and relying on the kindness of volunteers like Sandra Grace Martinez.
My biggest concern for them is not to die out here in the street.
This is the situation under Title 42, a policy enacted under President Trump to expel and deport immigrants before they can claim asylum due to COVID concerns. Next week, that policy is set to expire, and El Paso officials expect the number of migrants seeking asylum will double. Congressional officials tell CBS News that negotiations on a bipartisan compromise on U.S. immigration and border policy failed to gain enough support to pass by the end of this year. 19 Republican-led states have asked appeals courts to delay the termination of Title 42.
We have a crisis on the southern border. They can't deny it.
The Department of Homeland Security has released a 6-point plan for when Title 42 is lifted, including sending more resources to the border, stricter consequences for unlawful entry, and increasing efficiency in processing those who enter. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
WNBA star Brittany Griner says she's grateful to be back in the U.S., plans to be back on the court with the Phoenix Mercury next season. In her first comment since being released in a dramatic prison swap with Russia, she wrote on Instagram, "The last 10 months have been a battle at every turn. I dug deep to keep my faith, and it was the love from so many of you that helped me keep going. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone for your help." It goes on to say, "President Biden, you brought me home, and I know you are committed to bringing Paul Whelan and all Americans home, too. I will use my platform to do whatever I can to help you." Griner was arrested in Russia in February on drug-related charges and was later sentenced to 9 years in prison. She was exchanged for return for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. The Biden administration is once again offering free COVID tests to U.S. households ahead of the potential winter surges. COVID infection and death rates are already on the rise across much of the country. The administration shut off the home testing program in September, citing a lack of congressional funding. It says the new tests will come from the national stockpile, which still has reserves.
We preserved the tests so we could have them on hand for exactly this moment.
We're not mandating that you do it, but I'm telling you right now, it is a great idea to mask on transit and to mask indoors.
The administration is also urging people to get the latest booster shot. So far, only about 40% of the U.S. say, or adults say, they have or plan to. Now, that's according to a new study from the Kaiser Family Foundation. Medical experts chalk a lot of that up to pandemic fatigue. Coming up, an